President Trump says he is withdrawing his endorsement for one of his most steadfast backers in Congress. In a Truth Social post late last night, the president said he no longer supports Georgia Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene, calling her a...
Yup, and the fallout continues. That's right. From lovers to haters arc, Marjorie Taylor Greene, one of the more outspoken Republicans on the release of the Epstein files. Marjorie Taylor Greene has also been very outspoken on Israel as well. It seems that she had greater ambitions of becoming a senator, and Donald Trump said no, and that caused her to have a come to Jesus moment, if you will, that basically caused her to go, okay, well, fuck you then. You hate to see two queens fight? I know. Two zesty sex addicts. Here's her boyfriend, a prolific Trump glazer, is taking the news. Standing by Marjorie Taylor Greene so far. Yeah, Brian Glenn, who famously asked Zelensky, why aren't you wearing a fucking suit? Brian Glenn, who is the chief White House correspondent for Real America's Voice, as I told you, is Marjorie Taylor Greene's boyfriend. I've talked about this quite a bit. And in the aftermath of this fissure, this deep fissure that exists, this deep fissure that is only worsening, Donald Trump lost a loyal media guy who says, I stand by my queen, my beautiful queen. I love this woman. I love this country. God bless America, at Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene. Marjorie Taylor Greene's boyfriend is posting this after Trump disowned her when his own career is based on proximity to Trump is very romantic. We all know Donald Trump has a tendency to punish dissenters who exhibit any sort of disloyalty. So I don't know how he will react to this. If we don't see Brian Glenn at the next White House presser, you know that he has fallen on his own sword for love, okay? Banned from the White House as the chief White House correspondent for Real America Voice.
Ranting lunatic. This comes after Greene appeared on CBS Mornings Friday to discuss her support for a vote to release all of the files in the investigation of convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein.
Yep.
The president has denied any knowledge of sexual abuse by Epstein, but this is the latest move to deflect attention away from himself. CBS News Justice correspondent Scott MacFarlane has more.
Yep, because it's true. There is truth to this. Marjorie Taylor Greene is openly anti-Israel. Marjorie Taylor Greene's openly anti-Israel tendencies is a problem for the base. Donald Trump is at an impasse here. Does he continue to try to hold the base together? Or does he start attacking people who are tangentially critical of him for the Epstein stuff or for Israel, which is also another version of the Epstein stuff anyway. Or it's another version of the Israel stuff, rather. Sorry. For us, this is a wonderful opportunity. Let's be real. Republicans have leaned into this stuff for many, many years, conspiracies, specifically anti-Semitic ones. And now those chickens are coming home to roost. Clearly, if your coalition building revolves around entertaining these sorts of opinions, if your coalition building revolves around entertaining anti-Semitic conspiracies and fascists, then eventually those fascists are going to turn on you because you yourself have to be pro-Israel unconditionally. And some of these guys are now hitting it. Don't go against Israel or Trump will call you a traitor. Marjorie Taylor Greene is a disgrace to our great Republican Party, says Donald Trump. Interesting. Marjorie Taylor Greene responds with this. President Trump just attacked me and lied about me. I haven't called him at all, but I did send text messages today. Apparently, this is what sent him over the edge. The Epstein files. And of course, he's coming after me hard to make an example to scare all the other Republicans before next week's vote to release the Epstein files. But yeah, anyway, getting back to Marjorie Taylor Greene. And of course, he's coming after me hard to make an example. It's astonishing, really, how hard he's fighting to stop the Epstein files from coming out that he actually goes to this level. But really, most Americans wish he would fight this hard to help the forgotten men and women of America who are fed up with foreign wars and foreign causes, are going broke trying to feed their families, and are losing hope of ever achieving the American dream. That's what I voted for. I have supported President Trump with too much of my precious time, too much of my own money, and fought harder for him, even when almost all other Republicans turned their back and denounced him. But I don't worship or serve Donald Trump. I worship God. Jesus is my savior, and I serve my district GA 14 and the American people. I remain the same today as I've always been, and I will continue to pray this administration will be successful because the American people desperately deserve what they voted for. For me, I remain America first and America only. Today, this is what she sent to DJT. In every single interview I've done, I've defended President Trump. I've said over and over, the women say he did nothing wrong, and their attorney says he's the only one who helped. And the Democrats had 4 years to release the files, but did nothing. Stop ignoring the women. Many of them literally voted for President Trump and say so publicly. Them being raped as teenagers is not a hoax. Yeah, this does give a whole new meaning to Big Beautiful Bill. She also tweeted out, I forgive him. I like that she said, I don't serve Donald Trump, but then still turned around and 11 hours ago said, good morning. I want to thank everyone who texted and posted. Toxic political industrial complex thrives on ripping us all apart and never delivers anything good for the American people whom I love. The PIC tells us to hate each other, fundraises off of why we have to hate each other, and pits Americans against each other. This is all so wrong. Oh, this and the Epstein files is why I'm being attacked by President Trump. It really makes you wonder what is in those files and who and what country is putting so much pressure on him. I forgive him, and I will pray for him to return to his original MAGA promises. Oh, she also is getting contacted by private security firms with warnings for my safety as a hotbed of threats against me are being fueled and egged on by the most powerful man in the world. The man I supported and helped get elected. Aggressive rhetoric attacking me has historically led to death threats and multiple convictions of men who were radicalized by the same type of rhetoric being directed at me right now, this time by the President of the United States. As a woman, I take threats from men seriously. I now have a small understanding of the fear and pressure the women who are victims of Jeffrey Epstein and his cabal must feel. As a Republican who overwhelmingly votes for President Trump's bills and agenda, she's gone woke. I mean, yeah, the Republicans have a quick way of just immediately being like, well, you yourself are obviously anti-Trump. You're against our big, beautiful president. And that means you are woke.
I asked President Trump in the Oval Office about those criticisms of his administration from Marjorie Taylor Greene. We are now in the middle of witnessing a major blow up between the two of them. One that a lot of people probably predicted would or did not expect would ever happen, with the president attacking her and her now calling the president saying that he is lying about her and that she believes this is all over him trying to bully other Republicans into not voting in favor of that discharge petition on the Epstein files this week. I wonder what you make of what's playing out.
It's like they put truth serum in the MAGA water cooler, and Marjorie Taylor Greene and Donald Trump are both condemned to tell the truth about the other. Everything each says is right. They are narcissists. Marjorie Taylor Greene is right that Donald Trump has no domestic agenda except to harm ordinary people, and Donald Trump is right that Marjorie Taylor Greene is crazy. So it's useful information all around. But what I worry most about this and the Epstein files and all the things that Trump has tried to keep control of, escaping his control, is he has one big distraction in his hand, and I fear he may be about to deploy it. We are seeing in the Caribbean right now the largest buildup of U.S. naval forces in the region since the Cuban Missile Crisis. There's no plan. There's no authorization by Congress. There are no regional partners. It is not a war that should be fought in this way at this time. But one thing it would do is change the subject.
So you're worried that he could take action on a foreign policy move?
Okay. I'm going to do this one more time. Donald Trump, if you really want to change the discourse around this stuff, do socialized medicine. I promise it'll really piss off everybody. Okay? Nobody will talk about the Epstein stuff ever again, really. Everyone will talk about how, oh my God, I can't believe you're doing this. This is so unacceptable. How dare you do this? Socialized medicine, high-speed rail, socialized medicine, building a robust industrial base, free college. You can call it fucking Trump care if you want. Andrew Filer, thank you for the gifted subs. I'm just saying, if you really want a distraction, it's much better than bombing Venezuela. And it'll be an ongoing distraction too. Please distract us with that. Mr. President, please, I'm begging you. And it's a win-win because you get to destroy Obama's legacy. Think about how much you can own the libs and own Barack Obama. You get to destroy Obama's legacy, and you get to build something that's even better than what Obama couldn't achieve. Only you can do it, Mr. President, please. You touched on this last stream. One of the big stories of 2016, 2027, and 2028 is that many Republicans do want to start quietly moving on from Trump, and how successful Trump's attempts at controlling primaries will be as a lame duck. Yeah. He is a galvanizing force, unfortunately, for the Republicans. Establishment Republicans haven't stopped hating Donald Trump. Okay. The only times where they forget about their hatred for Donald Trump is when Donald Trump delivers on deregulation and also tax cuts for the super wealthy. But they still see Donald Trump as an uncontrollable force. That's the reason why they tried to pull the Ron DeSantis exit ramp. But it was a spectacular failure. So we don't know how that will look.
Critical of him not only about the Epstein files, but about his involvement in foreign affairs. And I don't mean with women. I mean in various parts of the world.
You said it, no.
Just to clear the table on that one. and so it's not surprising that they have had a breakup of sorts. After all, he didn't give her a ring. He just supported her for a little while.
Listen, this fire is spreading. I mean, right? It started off talking about Epstein in the beginning. Then during the shutdown, she was one of the few Republicans that correctly identified Donald Trump's unwillingness to deal with the ACA subsidies and lower healthcare costs for Americans as being one of the reasons why the shutdown occurred.
She was very...
Liberals love a former Republican, I guess just as much as Republicans love a former Democrat. Not to say that Marjorie Taylor Greene is a former Republican. I think she's still very much invested in being a Republican. Maybe even more right-wing than Donald Trump is. But you will see liberals. I feel like it's already started, but like liberals are gushing over Marjorie Taylor Greene here. I mean, for me, it's strategic, right? I don't have an issue with hyping up what Marjorie Taylor Greene is doing currently because I think it's beneficial. I think it's good when the Republicans are fighting. But I do fear that liberals might take it a step further. I think it's an interesting phenomenon that we're experiencing because Marjorie Taylor Greene is not actually opposing Donald Trump from the left flank. Well, I guess kind of like, but she is like, she's saying she's true to the America First principles that Donald Trump initially ran on, you know, helping the American working class, isolationism as a foreign policy. Like, these are the things that Donald Trump initially ran on. These are the things that a lot of people like Donald Trump for. So, and there's a lot of people who are anti-Israel. So she's leaning into that crowd. Of course, none of these people on the media side are anti-Israel, make no mistake. But that's what's going on here. Pascal Emmanuel Gabri says, Marjorie Taylor Greene is an example of the promise of and peril of populism. She's a good person, a mom who loves her country. She was a better congressperson than an empty suit would have been in her place. But she's also clearly not very bright, extremely gullible, and emotionally incontinent. And ultimately, doesn't have the skills to produce any real political wins or policy outcomes that can actually make a difference to the people she wants to represent. Sad. Yeah. As in, I liked it better when she was screaming about Rothschild space lasers instead of actual abuses by powerful people. Yeah. Both Marjorie Taylor Greene and Candace Owens has said actually anti-Semitic shit. And they have been defended by the Republicans until they became anti-Israel. Republicans, for the longest time, and this also is, you know, conservative Jews who are Republican as well, have also abided by this principle that it doesn't matter if you are an anti-Semite as long as you're pro-Israel, right? That was the method. Their anti-Semitism was not a deal breaker until they became anti-Israel. If you can't recognize that, I don't know what to tell you. Ben Shapiro quite literally has openly stated this when defending Ann Coulter, when she said anti-Semitic shit way back in the day. Not only that, but also Ben Shapiro hired Candace Owens, even though he knew very well that she was also anti-Semitic. Ben Shapiro fired Candace Owens when Candace Owens, the perfect room reader, decided to turn on Israel. She used to have many pro-Israel tweets back in the day, but when she became anti-Israel, that's when it was a bridge too far.